now. This is where the teacher will share their screen and show you what to do. When the teacher is showing you how to do something, you should make this video box go into full screen by clicking on the full screen icon here. Try it now and this video should get bigger and cover your whole screen. When the lesson starts, you will see all the steps for the lesson appear here. These are the steps you need to follow to create the project, and the teacher will guide you through each of these step by step. Though if you wish to go ahead and follow them yourself, that's no problem. You will normally be working with two tabs, one tab for the instructions and one tab for creating the code and your project. When you have completed a step, come back to the Instructions tab and click on this green Done button. You get an award and learning points for each step you complete. Under the video box, you will see what step the teacher is currently on. Under that, you will see the chat feed. The chat feed shows you how everyone is doing, and you can put your own entries into it by clicking on the blue chat button and entering your question or message. Or you can give a quick thumbs up or down, or even put in emojis by using the green react button. After the teacher has shown you how to do a step, click on the exit full screen button to make the video go back small. Try it now. Okay, that's it for the instructions. We can't wait to see what you create. And remember, you can always come up with your own ideas and add them into your project. If you do want to share your project and your own ideas, you can do that using the purple button at the bottom of the lesson. We often show the best ones at the start of the next class. Okay, today's lesson is going to start in a few minutes, so strap in and get ready to code. Hey everyone, we'll be starting the live lesson shortly, but before we do, let's go over a few instructions on how live lessons work and how you can join in. First of all, let's talk about the teacher's video box. This is the video box that I'm in and that you're looking at right now. This is where the teacher will share their screen and show you what to do. When the teacher is showing you how to do something, you should make this video box go into full screen by clicking on the full screen icon here. Try it now and this video should get bigger and cover your whole screen. When the lesson starts, you will see all the steps for the lesson appear here. These are the steps you need to follow to create the project, and the teacher will guide you through each of these step by step. Though if you wish to go ahead and follow them yourself, that's no problem. You will normally be working with two tabs, one tab for the instructions and one tab for creating the code and your project. When you have completed a step, come back to the Instructions tab and click on this green Done button. You get an award and learning points for each step you complete. Under the video box, you will see what step the teacher is currently on. Under that, you will see the chat feed. The chat feed shows you how everyone is doing, and you can put your own entries into it by clicking on the blue chat button and entering your question or message. Or you can give a quick thumbs up or down, or even put in emojis by using the green react button. After the teacher has shown you how to do a step, click on the exit full screen button to make the video go back small. Try it now. Okay, that's it for the instructions. We can't wait to see what you create. And remember, you can always come up with your own ideas and add them into your project. If you do want to share your project and your own ideas, you can do that using the purple button at the bottom of the lesson. We often show the best ones at the start of the next class. Okay, today's lesson is going to start in a few minutes, so strap in and get ready to code. Hey everyone, we'll be starting the live lesson shortly, but before we do, let's go over a few instructions on how live lessons work and how you can join in. First of all, let's talk about the teacher's video box. This is the video box that I'm in and that you're looking at right now. This is where the teacher will share their screen and show you what to do. When the teacher is showing you how to do something, you should make this video box go into full screen by clicking on the full screen icon here. Try it now and this video should get bigger and cover your whole screen. When the lesson starts, you will see all the steps for the lesson appear here. These are the steps you need to follow to create the project, and the teacher will guide you through each of these step by step. Though if you wish to go ahead and follow them yourself, that's no problem. You will normally be working with two tabs, one tab for the instructions and one tab for creating the code and your project. When you have completed a step, come back to the Instructions tab and click on this green Done button. You get an award and learning points for each step you complete. Under the video box, you will see what step the teacher is currently on. Under that, you will see the chat feed. The chat feed shows you how everyone is doing, and you can put your own entries into it by clicking on the blue chat button and entering your question or message. Or you can give a quick thumbs up or down, or even put in emojis by using the green react button. After the teacher has shown you how to do a step, click on the exit full screen button to make the video go back small. try it now. Okay, that's it for the instructions. We can't wait to see what you create. And remember, you can always come up with your own ideas and add them into your project. If you do want to share your project and your own ideas, you can do that using the purple button at the bottom of the lesson. We often show the best ones at the start of the next class. Okay, today's lesson is going to start in a few minutes, so strap in and get ready to code. Hey everyone, we'll be starting the live lesson shortly, but before we do, let's go over a few instructions on how live lessons work and how you can join in. First of all, let's talk about the teacher's video box. This is the video box that I'm in and that you're looking at right now. This is where the teacher will share their screen and show you what to do. When the teacher is showing you how to do something, you should make this video box go into full screen by clicking on the full screen icon here. Try it now and this video should get bigger and cover your whole screen. When the lesson starts, you will see all the steps for the lesson appear here. These are the steps you need to follow to create the project, and the teacher will guide you through each of these step by step. Though if you wish to go ahead and follow them yourself, hello everyone and welcome to today's live lesson. My name's Alan from Coding Ireland. So Radhika isn't here today, so I'm going to be taking the lesson. So you're all very welcome. And I'll just give a couple of minutes for everyone to join in. Let me share my screen. Oh, look at that, infinity. Is that sharing over there? Perfect. Okay. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be making an arcade game using MakeCode Arcade. So far in these live lessons, we have been using Scratch. You've been doing lessons with Radhika in Scratch. I know the last one was an absolute corker of a lesson where you were doing build battles. Today we're moving on to something a little bit more advanced. It's called MakeCode Arcade. And it's a programming language. Again, like Scratch, it's using blocks, so it's block-based. But it's specifically there specifically to make arcade games, and it's really, really cool. It's got some brilliant blocks in it. They can get your arcade game up and running really quickly. So let me just refresh my screen here and see who we have. And I will also give you a quick preview of what we will be doing. So let me scroll down and look at this. So here is the game that we're going to be making. So again, it's an arcade game. We're going to be controlling a little character, and we're going to draw our own maps, our own levels that our character is going to need to jump through and navigate through. There's going to be some danger areas like the lava there on the bottom. And then there's going to be a goal at the end that you're going to try and get to. So this will give you the basics on how to create a platformer game. So that's what this game is. It's a platform game because you're moving through a map of platforms. Okay, so let's get started. So as usual with these live lessons, if you want to work away and go through the steps yourself, fire away, work your way through them. You have all the information there. If you want to come along with me, then come along with me. I'm going to be demonstrating a step and then giving you a little bit of time to do it. And then we'll move on to the next one. I can see Max Shells there has already completed step number 2. Okay, brilliant. So step number 1 is just a bit of information about platformer games, or they're also called jump and run games. So it's just a game genre of action games. And the goal is to move a character between points in a map. So we can just see a kind of example there of a platformer game. So I'm going to mark that step as done. I'm going to get my badge, a jack-o'-lantern. And I'm going to move on to step number 2. In step number 2, we're just going to open up the Arcade MakeCode website. So just like we used Scratch before to create our projects, we're going to use a different website to create our projects. So we're going to open up this website by clicking on the link, and then we're going to create a new project. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So here's the MakeCode website, and I'm going to click on this big orange button to create a new project. And I'm just going to call it platformer. You can call it whatever you want. It's not too important, but just something that will remind you of what the project is when you come back to it later. Okay, I'm going to mark that step as done, and I am going to give people time to do that. And I'm just going to check and see if everybody is here. Okay. Okay, yeah, I can see people on the live lesson. Brilliant. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you just a quick tour around the MakeCode website. So the MakeCode website is quite similar. This is the project editor. So it's quite similar to the Scratch project editor. If you remember, in Scratch, you have your toolbox on the left-hand side, and then you have your big code area, and then you have the stage on the right-hand side. Well, the MakeCode editor is quite similar. So we have our toolbox here, which is kind of in the middle. So we've got sprites, controller, game, music, and so on. And each of these are different categories of blocks that we can use. We're going to be dragging and dropping these blocks from the toolbox onto our code area, which is here on the right. And again, same thing as in Scratch, if you don't want something, you want to delete it, you just drag it and throw it back into the toolbox. And then instead of a stage area, we actually have this little virtual handheld gaming device, gaming computer. So the game that we create will actually play out here. We can use the toggle buttons here in the A and B, or you can use the arrow keys in your keyboard and the space bar, and you can actually play the game. MakeCode Arcade, so you can play it virtually like this in the virtual arcade gaming computer, or you can get one of the arcade devices. So you can actually get a physical handheld computer device, a gaming device, that will allow you to download your games on them and take them on the go, take them into school, take them off to your friends and family, and have them play your game. So it really is very, very cool. Okay, so let's move on to step number 3. In step number 3, what we're going to do is create our character, the sprite that's going to be that we're going to control to go through the game. So I'll show you how to do this. I'm going to switch to my project editor. I'm going to go into the sprites toolbox, the one at the very top, and I'm going to drag and drop in set my sprite to sprite of kind player. And what this block does is it creates a variable, and then in that variable, it creates our player sprite. Now we need to, at the moment, our player sprite is blank, so we need to actually draw it. So to do that, to draw your sprite, click on the little gray box. I maybe did that a little quick, so I'll go back, click on the little gray box here, and this will open up this sprite editor. So here you've got different tools. You'll see them on the left, the different colors you can use. I'm just going to draw quite a simple one. I'm just going to draw a kind of yellow box. So I'm going to do a square first of all. Then I'll get the paint bucket and fill it in. I'll switch to the pencil tool and then choose black. And I'm just going to draw some eyes. And then I'm going to draw a mouth. I'll maybe make the tongue stick out a little bit, which would add a little bit of character to my sprite. So once you've done that, you can click on done. You'll see your drawing in the block, and then when the game reloads on the left-hand side, you'll see your character there. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that step as done. That is step number 3. And get my badge, get a campfire badge. And I'm going to give some time for people to go ahead and do that. So I'll give you a minute to go ahead and to design your sprite. So add in that code block, open up the sprite editor, and then design your sprite. You don't need to spend too long on it for the moment. Just put in something that works, and then you can always come back and add in more detail. But I'll give you a minute or two just to do it now. Okay, so I'll just give a little bit more time for people to design their sprite. So again, you don't need to take too long in designing your sprite. Just, put in something that will work. There's actually a gallery in there as well if you want to choose one of the sprites from the gallery. But I always find it's more fun if you design your own. But again, nothing too complicated for the moment because we need to move on with the lesson. But put in something that works, and then you can always come back later on and add in any details or change it around the way you want. Okay, so let's move on to step number 4. In step number 4, we're going to program our sprite to move left and right. We don't want to program our sprite to move up and down because the idea of a platformer game is that your sprite is pulled down by gravity and is on the platforms. So you can't just press the up button just to fly up through the sky, because then if you did it that way, it would be very easy to navigate the map. The whole idea of a platformer is that you need to walk or run through the map and then jump through the different platforms. I can see we have a new coder who has joined us, Curious Z. You're very welcome to our live lesson today. My name's Alan, so I'm sitting in for Radhika, who normally takes the lessons. Today we are making a platformer game using MakeCode Arcade. We're actually on step number 4, or I'm about to demonstrate step number 4. But if you want to go ahead and work your way through the steps, so step number 1 is just to create a new project. And we're using the MakeCode website, so you might be new to that, but it's quite similar to Scratch. And step number 3, then we're going to add in the my sprite or set my sprite to sprite of kind player block. But then you need to go in and design your sprite. Just so you know, for these live lessons in the video, if you want, you can actually go back in time. So if you want to go back and play from the start, you'll see me demonstrate those steps and you can kind of just take it from there. That's for Curious Z. Oh, I see another coder has joined in, Sasha. So Sasha, you're very welcome. I was just saying that we're already on to step number 4, or I'm about to demonstrate step number 4. But if you want to go back in time in the video, you can kind of play back from the start and you can see me demonstrate the previous steps. Okay, let's get going with step number 4. So let's program our sprite to move left and right. And to do that, we're going to add in this move my sprite with buttons VX100 VY0. Okay, so what is VX and VY? Well, first of all, X is for the x-axis, left and right, and y is for the y-axis, which is up and down. And V stands for velocity, or in other words, speed. So we're setting the velocity for X, the speed for X and Y. So to move left and right, what speed will you go when you press the arrow keys or press the buttons on the toggle buttons on the virtual arcade gaming computer? So 100 left and right, and 0 for up and down. So that means when you press the up and down arrows, it actually won't move it up and down, because as we said, this is a platformer. You can't just fly through the map. We're going to actually program something to for gravity to take effect, and then for you to be able to jump. So you can move left and right and jump your way through the map. Okay, let's add in the code. So I'm going to switch to the to my project editor. I'm going to go into the controller toolbox, and I'm going to get the first block there that says move my sprite with buttons. I'm going to drag that and put it inside the on start, and then very importantly, I'm going to click on the plus, and that will open up the extra options of this block. So at the moment, VX, so left and right speed, is 100, and VY, up and down speed, is 100. So if I move over here, if I actually go left and right, you can see that I can control my sprite. If I go up and down, so I'm now actually using the keys on my keyboard, I can move up and down. So left and right and up and down. Now we don't want to move up and down, so I'm going to change the VY by clicking on it, clicking on the number, and then change it to 0. My code will reload. And now I can go left and right, but when I press up and down, it doesn't move my sprite, and that's exactly what I want. So I'm going to mark that step as done. What did I get? Oh, nice. PlayStation logo, rare. Okay, so that's step number 4 done. I'm going to give a little bit of time for people to work their way through those steps. I can see Nathan has joined us as well. You're very welcome, Nathan. Sasha says, thank you. We do have to go back and try again. Yep, you can go back and work and view the video from when we started. So as I was saying earlier on, if you want, when you're watching the video, you can actually go back in time. So you can drag it back to where we started on step 1 or step 2 and kind of play it from there if you want. But I know most of you coders are really, really good, and I've no doubt you're going to catch up with me in no time. I'm just after completing step number 4, but I'm going to give a little bit of time for everyone to catch up, or for people to get through the steps. So take your time, start working your way through the steps. Do follow the instructions. It's always really important we follow the instructions. Sometimes we just want to get there and we just rush it and we don't really read the instructions and we just throw the code in, and then you get to the end and it doesn't quite work. So do take your time to follow the instructions and read through them. Just so it's important that you understand them as well, of why they're working, because then you can take that knowledge, and then when you're making your own games, your own projects, you can apply and use that knowledge. Okay, I'll give a little bit of time. So if you are new to Make Code Arcade, so I was saying this at the start of the lesson, but I know some people mightn't been online then. So we're using Make Code Arcade, which is similar to Scratch, but a little bit different. It does use blocks the same way. It does have a toolbox and a code area where you drag and drop your blocks. It has a computer simulator where our game plays out instead of the stage. So it's quite similar, but it's specifically set up to create arcade games. And this is why we can create the game so quickly, because it has handy blocks that we can use that are kind of aimed at creating games. Okay, so in the next step, we're going to be adding in gravity. And this is a very important point, a very important thing to add into a platformer game. The gravity must pull your character down. So I'm going to just open up this image along with step 5, and you can see this is what's going to happen. Our character is just going to be pulled down with gravity. So how are we going to do that? Well, we're just going to add in this code here where it says forever set my sprite Vy, which is the velocity y, the velocity for going up and down, to 50. And what that's going to do is pull our, because it's in a forever, it's constantly going to set the velocity y to go to 50, which will make our sprite just go downwards. Okay, so I'm going to add in this code. So I'm going to switch to my code editor. I'm going to go into the loops toolbox and get a forever block and drag that in. It doesn't connect to anything. It just goes on its own. Then I'm going to go into the sprites toolbox, and I'm going to get the block that says set my sprite x to 0. But you'll see that beside the X, it has a little white down arrow, which means there's lots of different options or attributes that we can change for my sprite. And in there will be a Vy, a velocity Y. So let's drag that in first of all, and we'll put it inside the forever. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can get a nice clear picture. So what we're going to do is change this X by clicking on it to velocity Y, so Vy, and we're going to change that to 50. You'll see when my code refreshes here, my character moves down. If I was to change it to 10, you'll see it'll just move down slower. Any second now. If I actually put it in a minus figure, it'll actually make it go up. So if I was to put it in minus, say, 30, and my code refreshes, it'll actually make it go upwards. But we're happy with 50 because we want to make it go downwards. So let it refresh, and there it is. So that's what should happen when you add in that code. You should see your sprite go down. So again, drag in a forever block from the loops toolbox, go into the sprites toolbox and get a set my sprite x to 0 block. That goes inside the forever block. And then you're going to change X to be Vy, click on the little white arrow and choose Vy, velocity Y from the drop down, and then change the number from 0 to 50, and then your sprite should go downwards. Okay, let me mark that step as done. And let's see how everybody is doing. So I can see Curious Z has completed step number 1. I'm waiting to see how Sasha and Nathan are getting along. As usual, with these live lessons, oh, brilliant. Curious Z has completed step number 2 and 3. Brilliant. You're catching up fast. As usual with these live lessons, if you do have any questions or if you need any help, you can always put in a react. So if you want to put in a red thumbs down, that lets the teacher know that you need a little bit of help and we can see what step you're on and try and help you. Or if you want, you can always click on chat, type in, I need help with step number 2, or I can't find the move buttons block, anything like that. If you just describe what your question is or what problem you're having, we'll try and help you and get you back on track. Okay, so I'm going to give a little bit more time for people to finish step number 5 before we move on to step number 6. And this is where it gets interesting. We're going to draw our map. So the map of our platformer game we're going to draw. Okay, so I'm going to give people just a few minutes. Okay, so how are we doing? Are we working our way through the steps? We catching up? Again, if you need any help or if you have any specific questions, just put them into the chat and we'll help you. But the instructions are all there, so hopefully you'll be able to look at those as well, and they'll give you the information you need to be able to create the steps, create the code, and create the game. Okay, so we're going to move on to step number 6. Step number 6 is where we're going to draw the map. So we need to do a few different things for our map. First of all, we're actually going to change the size of the map. Well, we need to add in some blocks first, but we're going to change the size of the map. So instead of a square map, it's going to be a long rectangular map that we're going to move through. The map is actually going to be bigger than this screen window, the camera window of our game. So we're going to need to add in a block of code that makes the camera follow our sprite as our sprite moves through the map. I can see Curious Z and Sasha are getting through the lesson, are getting through the steps, so well done there. And then we're going to draw in our tile map. So to do that, we're going to do a few things. So that's just a little animation of what we need to do. So we're going to change the shape of the map. We're going to draw in the platform tiles. Then we're going to put a goal tile at the end. So something you need to reach to get to the end of the level. And then we're going to draw in the lava. So we're going to draw in, or you don't need to use lava, but anything that's the danger tile that you cannot touch, and otherwise it'll be game over. And then finally, and this is a very important step, you do need to pay attention to this. For our platform tiles that we're drawing in there, we're going to need to set them to be a wall tiles. And I'll show you how to do that. It's actually doing it there in the animation, kind of setting them as pink. And what it does is a wall tile means a player cannot pass through it. So when you're standing on top of the platform, you will actually stand on top of it instead of pass through, because you can't, if you don't set a tile to be a wall tile, you'll just pass through the tile. Okay, so let me go ahead and do this. So we're going to add in 2 blocks. First of all, we're going to add in camera follow sprite my sprite, and then set tile map 2. And then once we add in the set tile map 2, we can actually draw our tile map. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and switch to my project. I'm going to go into the scene toolbox, so the one with it looks like a Christmas tree, which is quite apt because we are, how many days? We are 18 or 19 days to Christmas, so not long to go. Okay, so first of all, we're going to go down to the camera heading and we're going to get the camera follow sprite, my sprite block. And that is going to go inside. Oh, let me rearrange this. That's going to go inside the on start block. Okay, camera follow my sprite. So again, that will make the camera follow the sprite through the map as you move through it. And now we need to add in our map. So again, we're going to go into the scene toolbox and we are going to scroll down to the tile maps heading. And in here, there's a block that says set tile map to tile map, and there's a gray box. I'm going to grab that block and I'm going to put it at the bottom of my on start. Okay. So this is the block that, just like we use a block to draw in our sprite, this is the block that we're going to use to draw in our map. So once you've added that in, you click on the gray box and it opens up the tile editor. Now we're going to change the dimensions, the size of this map. At the moment, it is a square. It's 16 by 16. You can see it down the bottom left here. Might be small on my screen, but on your screen, you should be able to see it. 16 by 16, that's the width and the height. Now, what did we say we're going to change it to? We're going to change it to width 32 and height 8. 8. So width 32 and height 8. So 32 in the first box and 8 in the second box, like so. Oh, I put in a tile by accident. And as you can see, once you put them in, 32 and 8, it makes it an elongated rectangle. So that's a good shape for a platformer map because it's a load of space to work your way through. Now, once you've done that, you need to draw in your 3 different types of tiles. The tiles for the platforms, the goal tile at the end. So that's just a one tile on its own at the end. And then whatever tiles you want to use for the danger tiles. I'm going to use lava. Okay, so what will I use for a platform? I'm going to use these kind of shrubbery ones. So at the start, oh, I need to get the pencil. At the start, I'm just going to draw a little bit of a platform. So when my sprite starts at the start, it'll fall in here, and this will be my start. And then I'll draw some extra platforms for them to jump through. Start making it a little bit challenging. You need to jump through this, and then maybe go up and jump down to a platform at the end. Okay, so they're my platform tiles. Now I'm going to choose my danger tile. So I think I need to go into miscellaneous, and in here there should be lava. Yep, there we go. There's a lava tile. I'm just going to draw that in all the way along the bottom, like so. So we're going to actually code that lava tile. If you touch off that lava tile, you'll go back to the start. And then finally, I need some sort of tile that will be for my, let's go into aquatic. For the goal. No, there's not. I want something that kind of stands out. Forest, is there anything in here? No, there's ones dungeon. Yeah, these circle ones. I like these. Actually, that looks like lava. I'll go with this kind of aquamarine one. No, I'll go with this one. Yeah, I'll put that there. So that's my goal tile. I have to touch off that tile at the end to win. Again, we're going to code that. Okay, so nearly finished this step. So now that we've drawn our map, so we have our platform tiles, our danger tiles, and our goal tile at the end, we need to set our platform tiles to be walls. So to do that, is that in this step actually? Yes, it is. So to do that, we're going to choose this wall tool here. So it's like a 3D wall. So I click onto that, and then I need to set each one of my platform tiles to be a wall. So I'm just clicking on each one. And what that means is when a player goes on top of one of them, it won't pass through it. It'll actually act like a wall tile, like a platform. And that's exactly what we want. So there I go. I've added them all in. So I'm going to click on the green done. And it should update. And then you can see there it is there. So I can't actually, well, I can move through it. I can go through the lava if I want, because I haven't coded that. And we haven't coded the jumping yet. So we're going to do that in a minute. So I'm going to mark this step as done. which is step number 6. I get a legendary sticky note as my reward. And then I'll give you guys and girls a few minutes to do step number 6. And I'll just have a look at how everyone is doing, see if anyone's asked for any help. Don't see any questions in there. I see progress though. I see Curious Z is already up to step number 5. Brilliant. Max Shells has completed step number 6, and Sasha has completed step number 4. So well done, everyone. You're flying along. Okay, so I'll give about a minute for people to do their map. Again, like this sprite that we designed at the start, you don't need to spend too much time making it really complicated, really intricate. At the moment, we just want to put in something that will work, that will be a little bit of fun, just to learn how to do it. And then you can always go back and you can, add in more details, make it a bit more complicated, or change the way your map is. You can always go back in and do that. And also you can add in extra levels if you wanted to do that as well. So for the moment, just do a map that is simple enough to get through, not too complicated, but will work for what we're doing today in creating this game. Okay, so I'll give you a minute. Okay, so I see a question there from Sasha. We don't know how to set the VY velocity Y. No problem. I will show you now. So Sasha, if you want to go into full screen on the video, you get a nice clear picture of this. So what we are trying to do is back here. We're going to get this sprite or this block, set my sprite to VY velocity Y to 50. Okay, here's how you do it. So first of all, you drag in the forever block like this. So that comes from the loops toolbox. So you drag in the forever block. And then here's how you do it. You go into the sprites toolbox and you scroll down a little bit until you see a block that says set my sprite X to 0. But do you notice that there's a little white arrow beside X? That means we can change X to be a few different things. So what we're going to do is, first of all, drag this block in. So set my sprite X to 0, drag that in and put it inside the forever like that. Then we're going to click on this little white arrow beside X, and it gives us this menu of all these different things that we can set for our sprite, loads of different things. And what we're going to set is the VY velocity Y. So click on that, and that sets the block to be VY velocity Y, and it's still at 0. So we need to click on the 0 and change that to 50. Okay, so that's how you do it. And that is the gravity. We're constantly going to pull ourselves down. So Y is the Y-axis for up and down. Velocity is speed. So if we set our velocity, our speed to 50 for going down, that's what will program the gravity into our game. Okay, so hope that helps. Thank you for asking the question. And that's exactly what we need to do, or what you need to do when you have a question, is just to type it into the chat like that, and we will help you. Sasha says thank you, and you're most welcome. I see Sean has joined in the live lesson, so you're very welcome, Sean. We're about halfway through, but that's no problem. You can work your way down through the steps. You can also go back in time in the video. If you rewind the video in the video box, you can just start playing from the start, and you will see all the instructions playing through there. Okay, so I am going to move on to step number 7. So here is where we're going to program our sprite to jump. So we're going to program the up button. The up button is the up arrow key on your keyboard. We're going to program that to make your sprite jump. So there is a little animation of a sprite jumping. So you see sprite goes up for a little while, but then gravity pulls you back down, just like in real life if you were to jump. So to do that, we need to do a couple of things. First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable called jump. And what we're going to do is we're going to set that to be false at the start. So we're going to say set jump to false. But when you press the up button, we will set it to be true. And then we'll wait, I think, about 3/4 of a second, about 750 milliseconds. And then we'll set it to be false. So we're just going to set it to be true for a little while and then set it to be false. Now, that won't make you move up in the air all by itself. We need to do something else then. Where we have our forever set my sprite velocity y to 50, we're going to put an if then in there instead. So we're going to say if jump is true, then we're going to set the velocity y to -50, which will make our sprite go up. And again, that'll only happen, a jump will only be true for 3/4 of a second. So when it goes back to false, we're going to set our velocity y back to 50. So it'll just constantly be pulling you down like it was at the moment. So it's a little bit complicated, but if you just take your time, work your way through the step, you'll be able to do this. And hopefully that makes sense, or it'll start making sense as you add it in. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this. So I'm going to go across to my project tab. I'm going to go into the variables toolbox, the one with the 4 horizontal lines, and I'm going to click on the make a variable button, and that will open up a box and say, what do you want to call your variable? Well, I want to call it jump, J-U-M-P, and click on OK. So that means we've created a variable called jump. A variable is something that we can store a value in. And what we're going to do is we're going to set jump to false at the start. So we're going to get set jump to 0, and we're going to put that inside the on start. But instead of setting jump to 0 at the start, we want to set it to false. So we're going to go into the logic toolbox. And if we scroll down right down the bottom, there's a block that says false that we can drag in there. So set jump to false. Okay. Now I'm going to just move so I have a little bit of space. We're going to go into the controller toolbox and drag in an on A button pressed block. Now the A button is this one here, or that's also the space key on your keyboard. You can use that if you want, or if you want the up arrow, you can change this to be up arrow by clicking on the white arrow beside A and then choosing up. So I'm going to program the up button, which is the up arrow on my keyboard, that when I press that, it's going to make the my sprite jump. So once I've done that, I need to go back into the variables toolbox, and I am going to get set jump to 0 again. Again, I'm going to go into my logic toolbox, and this time I'm going to get it true, like that. So let me zoom in so you get a real clear picture of that. So on up button pressed, set jump to true. I could drag and drop these in if I wanted again, because I need to get one that says set jump to false, but I'm actually just going to right click on this and duplicate, which creates a copy, and I'm going to put that in underneath it. So set jump to false. So the first one is true, the second one is false, and then in the middle of that sandwich, we're going to put a pause for 750 milliseconds, which is 3/4 of a second. You can play around with different times, but this is the time that I think kind of works best. Where is the pause? It's in the loops toolbox. So that's a good way of finding anything, by the way. You can just use the search there. So I'm going to open the loops toolbox, get a pause 100 ms and put it in between the two set jumps. And I'm going to change this to be 750, which is 3/4 of a second. Okay, still not there for this step. So there's quite a bit to do in this step. So again, we created the jump variable. We set it to be false inside the on start. And then we dragged in the on button, or the on A button pressed, and changed it to up button pressed. Then we put in set jump to true, and then we put in set jump to false, and then we put in a pause in between, a pause for 750 milliseconds, or if you want, you can choose a second or whatever you think. You can kind of play around and see what works for you. Now, we need to go up. I'll just drag this across. I have a bit of space. So we're going to change this here. Let me zoom out a little bit. We're going to change the forever set my sprite VY velocity to 50. So basically, when jump is true, you want to set the VY to -50, which will make it go up. But when jump is false, which is 3/4 of a second later, we want to set it back to VY 50. So I'm going to just drag this out for the moment and leave it there. Then I'm going to go into the logic toolbox and I'm going to get an if true then else. So it kind of looks like a capital E. I'm going to drag that and put it inside the forever like that. And then we're going to go back inside the logic. So in these blocks, if then blocks, you have to test if something is true or false. And we're just going to test if the jump is true or false. So to do that, we're going to go into the logic toolbox, go down to comparison, and there's a block there that says 0 = 0. We're going to drag that in and put it inside instead of the true. Then we're going to go to variables and we're going to get a jump variable and put it in for the first 0, and then back into logic and go all the way down and get true, and that goes in for the second 0. So now our block says forever if jump equals true then. And what we're going to do is here, take that back out. We'll create a duplicate of this. So we have 2 of these. Okay. We'll put 1 here and 1 in this section. So the top one is -50. So if jump is true, we want to go upwards. So we put in -50. And else if jump is false, so if this here is not true, if it's false, we're going to put velocity Y to 50. So it'll pull us back down. So now hopefully, when I press the up arrow, you can see my character jumps up in the air for a little bit and then falls back down. So that was quite a lot. I'm going to mark my step as done and have a look at the chat. Okay, so how are we doing? So I can see people completing the steps. Well done. And back says, I have a real cute purple guy. Brilliant. At the end, if you want to share your projects, I'll try, if we have time, I'll pull them up on the screen and we can see what everyone has created. But that's what I like about these things, is we can kind of design our own. You can choose a sprite from the gallery, but I always think it's better when you design your own. When Max has done a cute purple guy as his character, as their character. Okay. I'll give a little bit of time. There was quite a bit in that. There was quite a bit in that step. So again, I'll just kind of run through it. And remember, you can always rewind the video. You can pause the video if you need to while you're doing something, and you can replay it. And then all the information is also here. So you have the little animations of all the code you need to add as well. So hopefully that gives you enough help to be able to do this step, because it is quite complicated, or there is a few things we need to do in it. But I'll run through them again. So we're going to create a jump variable. So into the variables toolbox, make a variable, type in jump and click on OK. Then we're going to set that to be false at the start. So in the on start block, we will say set jump to false. Then we will drag in an on A button pressed, and we'll change it to be on up button pressed. And inside there, we'll say set jump to true, and then set jump to false. And then in the middle of that sandwich, we're going to put in pause 750 milliseconds, which is 3/4 of a second. I actually think that might be a little bit too much just looking at it. Maybe I might change that to be 500 ms, which is half a second. So it'll only jump up in the air for half a second. Yeah, kind of looks a little bit better. No, I can't jump up on a platform. It doesn't jump me high enough. So I'm going to go back to 750. Anyway, so once you put that in, then we're going to change the forever block. It did say forever set my sprite VY velocity to 50, but we're going to change it. We're going to pull that out. We're going to put in an if then block like that, if then else block. It's like a capital E. And we're going to get a I'll pull these out so I can talk my way through this again, just in case anyone needs this information for the second time. We're going to pull in a 0 equals 0. So that goes in between if and then. Instead of the first 0, we're going to say jump. And instead of the second 0, we're going to say true. So now it says if jump equals true, then. So what happens when jump is true? We're going to set my sprite velocity y to, oh, it's the wrong one. It should be minus 50. That's this one here. Come on. Minus 50, which will make it go up. And jump will only be true for 750 milliseconds. So when it switches back, jump is false. And because this is in a forever block, this code is constantly running, constantly checking if jump is true or false. When it's false again, we're going to set Vy back to 50, which will pull our character back down. Okay. Let me have a look how people are doing. Okay, brilliant. People are flying along. Well done. Give a little bit more time, and then we're going to move on to step number 8, which is where you can jump through the map. So I'm actually going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to go into full screen and jump through my map. Might need to change the speed because I can actually jump quite far. I can also double jump. Oh, there, I made it to the end. So my map is okay. I'm kind of happy enough for the moment. Maybe later on I might go back in and make it a little bit more complicated, but I'm happy enough. So I'm going to mark step number 8 as done. You can do that too once you're finished step number 7. Just move your way through the map and just make sure there's nowhere where the platform, where the gap between the platforms is too big that you can't make it across. If it is, you just need to edit your map, maybe put in a platform in the middle of that big jump so you can kind of make your way across. So step number 8 is just really about testing your map, making sure it's kind of playable, workable. And once it is, you can move on. Again, you don't need to do anything too complicated, too intricate for the moment. You can always come back and edit your map later on if you want to add in more ideas into it. And I'm sure you all have loads and loads of ideas of what you can do. Okay, I'll give everyone just a little bit more time and then we'll move on to step number 9. In step number 9, we're going to make sure that you can't double jump. At the moment, if you press your jump button twice, you'll just jump, keep on jumping. So even if you're not touching the ground, you'll still jump, which shouldn't happen, because then again, you could just fly your way through the map. So we'll be changing that in step number 8. Okay, I'll give everyone just another minute. Okay, how's everyone doing? I can see people marking off the steps as done. Brilliant. Well done, everyone, working your way through the lesson. So we're nearly there in terms of what we need to do. And this is brilliant because once you know how to create a platform game in arcade, and this is a basic enough one, but once you know how to do that, then you can start getting it a little bit more complicated. You might add in enemies, you might add in boosts or health or things you need to find and collect. The ideas and things you can do are endless. But once you know how to do it, you can use that. What you know to go and do your own thing and put your own spin on your own game. Okay, so I'm now going to move on to step number 9. So as I said, at the moment, you can actually double jump. Let me show you. I'm going to switch across to here. So I did my up arrow. So when I press up, it jumps up and down. But watch when I press it twice, I can just keep on pressing it and I can stay up in the air and go all the way through the map, which is obviously, that's not what we want to do because it'd be too easy. It wouldn't be challenging. And it's so important when you're creating games, they need to be challenging. If a game isn't challenging, it's boring. And then people will just play it and go, that's kind of okay. But like if it's challenging, it's like, oh, I was nearly there. I nearly finished it. I have to try it again. So when you make things challenging, games challenging, they're a lot more enjoyable to play. And I'm sure you all know that. Okay, so how are we going to do this that you can only you can't double jump? Well, we're just going to add in something, and it's into the on up button pressed block. We're going to add in an if then. So if you remember, an if then just checks if something is true or false. If it's true, whatever you put inside the if then, that code will run. If it's false, it'll just skip by that and it won't run that code. So we're only going to set jump to be true if your sprite is hitting the wall at the bottom. So if the bottom of your sprite, i.e. where the legs of the sprite would be, if there were legs, but where it's touching the ground. So if that's hitting the wall at the bottom, then you can jump. But if it's not, so say it's mid-air, it's not touching the wall at the bottom. So when you press the up button, that code set jump to true will not run. The set jump to true, pause, and set jump to false. That code, those 3 blocks will not run when you're in the air. And that way you won't be able to double jump. So let's go in and put in this code. So I'm going to go down to my on up button pressed block. I'm going to pull out these 3 blocks for the moment and just leave them to the side. And then I'm going to go into my logic toolbox. And I'm just going to get the if true then. So I don't need an if true then else. I just need an if true then. So kind of like a capital C. We drag that in and we put it inside the on button pressed block. Okay. And now we need to put our test into here. So what our test is my sprite hitting the wall at the bottom? Okay. So let's get this code. I think that's in scene. Oh. That opened and closed really quickly. So into scene, scroll down, keep on going. And it's in this section called locations. So in the heading called locations, and there's a block there. It's kind of a diamond shape at the edges. It says, is my sprite hitting wall left? And we can see the little white arrow beside left. So we know we can change that to left, right, up, down, or top, bottom. And we need to put bottom in there. So we're going to drag that in, and that goes inside instead of the true like that, and the block will expand to take it in, and we'll put our 3 blocks back in the middle of that if then, and we just need to change this to be bottom. So if the bottom of your sprite is touching the wall, like the platform, brilliant, you can jump. If it's not, it's going to skip by this code and you won't be able to jump. So now that my code is refreshed, when I press up, I jump. But look, I'm spamming up, but it's only jumping when I'm touching the platform. And that's really important. So now, oh, I went into my lava. So now you can work your way through your map. And it's a bit more challenging because I can't double jump. So I have to be quite accurate. Okay, so let me mark that step as done. That is step number 9. Okay, I'm getting a fashion series here. What am I going to get? Healed boot legendary. Fantastic. Okay, so that is step number 9 done. Let me have a look in the chat how everyone is doing. I see Curious Z or Curious Z has completed step number 8. Sean has completed step number 5. Max, I'm not seeing Max. Max has come up here though. I can see you have created a cute purple guy, so well done. But Max, when you do complete a step, do mark it as done. You get your learning points, you get your badge, and then I can also see how you are doing. Okay, so I hope everyone's doing okay. Again, sometimes when we're doing these lessons, the instructor might go through the lesson kind of quicker than you can follow. We do try and take our time, but we do also have to try and fit it into the hour. So if we do go through the steps of the lesson and it's just a little bit quick for you to follow, there's a couple of things you can do. So number 1, you have all the information in this step. So just take your time. If you have, if you need some help with someone reading it out, you can press the play button up here. It'll read it out to you, or you can ask your your, someone in your family or your friend to maybe help you. Or you can also go back in time in the video. So you can go back, you can play something, you can replay it, you can pause, or you go off and add in the code. So the information is there. You just need to take your time and you'll be able to do it. Okay, so let me see. There's no other questions or anything like that. Okay, we have 7 minutes left, so let's get going. I do want to try and finish step number 10 and step number 11. So at the moment, there's no consequence if you touch off the lava. So if I go into my game and I go into the lava and nothing happens, that's not what we want. There has to be a consequence because, again, it has to be challenging. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a game over if you touch off your danger tile. So we need to add in this code here. Now, this is important because in these instructions, it doesn't actually put in the icon, the picture of the tile that you want to detect you touching off. So it won't say Sprite's Dungeon Hazard Lava on yours. So if you watch what I do here, you'll see how it works. Okay. I'm going to go into my code. I'm going to scroll down to a little bit of space, and I'm going to open up the scene, not info, scene toolbox. And I'm going to scroll down till I see tile maps. Okay, so the tile maps heading here. And in here, we're going to get this block here. On sprite of kind player overlaps, and we can choose what tile we want at location. So we're going to take that big block and put it in here. Okay. I'll close this for the moment so it's easier to see. Okay. So on sprite of kind player overlaps at location. And we can click on the little white arrow here. It'll show us all the tiles we've used in our map, which is really handy feature. And I'm going to choose the lava tile. So that's what you need to do. So it won't say Sprite's Dungeon Hazard Lava, okay, like it does in the instructions there. What you need to do is just choose the danger tile in your map. So mine was lava, so I'm choosing lava. Okay, brilliant. And then we just need to add in one block, which is game over. And we'll say lose, and we can choose an effect. So I'll show you how this works. We're going to go into the game toolbox, and we're going to go down and get a game over tile, and that goes inside the on sprite of kind player overlaps with lava. Excuse me. And we're going to change this to lose. Oh, where's the effect gone? Is there another one? Oh, they must have updated this. Okay. Oh, it's okay. We can work with this. So what we'll do is, oh, look, there's a use confetti for win. Will this work? Sorry, I'm kind of thinking on my feet here. So what we need to do is put in these two blocks here. Use effect, and we'll say Starfield if we lose, and game over, lose. So let me see if this works. Open up my code, go in, yep, game over, and we can see the Starfield effect happening. So that's actually what you're going to need to do. You're going to need to add in those two blocks. The first one, use effect Starfield for lose, just sets what effect will happen if you lose. But the second one, game over, lose, actually says, right, you've lost, game over, and then that will actually trigger the use effect Starfield. You can choose whatever effect you want. There's lots of different ones in there. Maybe melt might be better. Let's try melt. It's more of a negative one, so game over. So you want to kind of negative. Yeah, that's better. A negative effect, kind of the screen melts, which is a kind of cool effect. Okay, so that is step number 10. I'm going to mark that as done, and I see there's a question there. Sasha, step 7, if jump true, don't know how to set. Okay, no problem. Let me go to step number 7. If jump equals, are you doing set if jump true? Okay, so it's this one. So what you want to do is this one here, if jump equals true. I will show you how to do this. So Sasha and anyone else that might need this, if you go into full screen on the video now, I will go back and show you how to do this. So at the moment, so hopefully you've created the jump variable. And at the moment, your forever block looks like this here. It says forever set my sprite VY velocity Y to 50. What you want to do is you take that out And here, I'll do this from scratch. You go into the logic toolbox, you get an if true then else, and that goes inside the forever. Then you go back into logic, scroll down until you get this 0 equals 0. You're going to take that block and put it inside instead of the true. So now it says if 0 equals 0 then you're going to go into variables, and you'll see there's a jump block in there that goes inside instead of the first 0. Back into logic, scroll down and get a true block at the bottom. So get that true block, and that goes inside instead of the second 0. So now your block says forever, if jump equals true, then else. What we want to do is we're going to duplicate this set my sprite velocity y. So we'll put one of those in each of the sections, and the top one changes to -50. So if jump is true, you'll go up, else velocity y is 50, which makes you go down. So hopefully that answers your question. I need to do step number 11. Okay, step number 11, I'll quickly show you because we're running out of time, is very similar to the step number 10 where we lost the game. So basically we just need to add in the same code again, the same block. Let me go into the scene toolbox, get another one of these blocks. It doesn't join to anything, but this time we're going to choose our goal tile. So that's the goal tile we need to get to. And again, we're just going to use the use effect for win. Yeah, we'll do confetti. And then we're going to put in game over, but you win. So it's game over, but you win. The other one was you lose. This one is you win. So let me see if I can get true. Please don't die. Please don't die. Get true to the end. Come on, up you go. Up onto this. And there you go. You win. And I get a little trophy, and the confetti effect happens. Okay, just inside the hour. Just got it there. Again, if any of that was a little bit too fast, you have all the information there. You can pause the video, you can go back in time and replay things. The information is all there. Just take your time. Follow the steps, follow the instructions, think about how the code is working, because then you're kind of learning, you're kind of going, oh yeah, I know how to do that now. And you can take that knowledge and you can create your own games, and you can create loads of different games with what you're learning. Sasha says, thank you, you're very welcome. So if you want, you can share your projects using the share your project link down the bottom there. And so you click share your project, and there should be how to share an arcade project. So there's a little instructions and animation there that shows you how to fill out this form. Next week, we'll open up the projects that were shared. So we'll have a little look at what was made. So, you know, if you're particularly proud of what you made, do share your project. If you put in your own idea, do share your project, because we love seeing what you create. And it's always good to share it with all the other coders that are joining our lessons. So that's it for this week. We are back again. It'll be Radicate again next Wednesday at 4, where we're going to be making another Make Code Arcade project. And then we're back for one final week for the year before we break up for Christmas. And we'll be doing a build battle lesson. And I know you all love those, but we'll be doing it in Make Code Arcade. So that is it for today. Hope you enjoyed that, and we will see you next Wednesday. Bye for now.